What's going on, everybody? Robert, BridgingTheGeekdoms here. Today, you're going to get an episode where I sit down with Shannon Rona, who is one of the Pittsburgh Avengers. She's been on my show before in the past, and we talked about how she got into cosplaying and how she got the Pittsburgh Avengers kind of really going in the Pittsburgh area. But with her today, she's also with a producer and talent manager and public speaker, Brad Lambert. So they both came on the show. I got a chance to sit down with them, pick their brains about some things that they've accomplished over the last few years, as well as got some background and really had a nice outlet for Brad to highlight some of his most recent incidents and predicaments that have gone on. And this is definitely something I think you should all listen to. His story is, in a way, it's unfortunate, but he's coming out the other side stronger from it because he's learned something, and I think that he's going to do some really, really great things moving forward, for sure. We do talk to Shannon a little bit about her cosplay and what she's been up to since we last talked to her a couple years ago, and I really like this interview. While I was editing it, I just had a smile on my face because of how much I truly love doing these interviews and talking to people who are passionate about what they do, just like I am. So sit back, everyone, and enjoy my conversation with Shannon Rona and Brad Lambert. When I last talked to you, I mean, you were part of the Pittsburgh Avengers, and it seemed like that was your lane. You were just there, Pittsburgh girl, doing this cosplay thing, but now you were in LA. You were doing other things. Like, how did you get to that point?
Yeah. I'm not really sure the last trip, if we just want to jump into that. Marvel just hit me up and said, come to LA, so I did. But I've been back and forth to LA multiple times, really. Just my family lives out there. Most of my friends are out there now. It's kind of crazy. And it's just been kind of my home away from home. I'm very much so still Pittsburgh. Like, obviously, I'm repping Penguins today because today is a very happy day in the NHL world. But yeah, no, I love the West Coast. I do. And while I still love home, I think it's better for reach as well for me. So I've been going back and forth and just trying to expand things.
Brad, I hear you're from Pittsburgh. So how did you get to where you are? I mean, with the little bit of research that I was able to do, I'm going to be honest, I wasn't very knowledgeable of who you were until actually a few weeks ago. I saw Shannon's TikTok where she was supporting you, and we'll get into a little bit of that later if you don't mind. But you get from being a Pittsburgh kid to that and doing that in LA?
I mean, I think for me, it's been pretty straightforward. I'm a passion-driven guy, so growing up, it was sports and entertainment, film, TV, comics. So for me, I've always tried to build my world around the things that make me happy and the things that I'm passionate about. So for me, it was trying to find a way to consistently do that. So I started chasing after my passion for sports early on in high school, where I was working with a lot of professional athletes and sports teams. That went all through college as well. I was very entrepreneurial and kind of creating my own opportunities and ways that I could provide value to others to make sure those things were a bigger part of my life. So I've been lucky to be around, the Steelers and that sports space since like 2005, 2006, shortly after they won the Super Bowl in Detroit. And, for me, it's all about relationships and being close to the players that I cheered on Sundays and Mondays and now Thursdays. It was a lot of fun to have relationships with them on and off the field, and then have those relationships extend once they hang up the cleats. So that's been really special for me. And then, I worked at a movie theater in high school. So I fell in love with film and all the different genres that you kind of get thrown in your face when you work at a movie theater. And then, shortly after, I spent almost 10 years in the sports space. And then I wanted to kind of chase my passions out in entertainment and find a lane for me to be involved in the things that I love with film and TV. And a lot of that was on the marketing and business side. And then you kind of just roll with the punches and the opportunities that come your way. And you kind of find out what you're good at and what you're not good at. And you double down on what you're good at and collaborate with others who are bad at what you're good at. Or collaborate with others who are good at what you're bad at. Excuse
There
me.
you
go. No, it's interesting, Brad, because your journey seems very similar to mine in a way. Obviously, you're much bigger than I could ever imagine to be. But it's funny because I'm a big sports guy, Pittsburgh area sports guy. And I started off my little journey through doing things online, writing about the Pittsburgh Penguins. I got part of a website. I got media passes to the Penguin games. I started growing my connections with people there and understanding things. And then I eventually moved outside of Pittsburgh. I'm about an hour and a half outside of Pittsburgh now. So I couldn't do that anymore. But my love of film and pretty much all things nerdy and geeky led me to eventually continuing my passion to be creative in some form or fashion, leading me to doing a podcast. So it's really interesting how things can happen like that. And I mean, for me, I look at this, especially my interviews that I do here, I'm all about taking something that, or taking someone that maybe a lot of people have never heard or seen before and highlighting them. And even if it gets one or two people's eyes and ears on them,
sure,
I think I'm doing a service. I'm helping them get known and get just that excitement and joy out of doing what they're doing. And that gives me a high a little bit. And that's what I love. And that's why I reach out to cosplayers and different types of content creators, because a lot of them do things that I, one, wish I could do, or two, are better than me at. And I want to learn from them as well as boost them up. That's what I like to do. So it sounds like your journey has been, or my journey has been similar to yours in a way, just gone a little bit differently. And you've made it to LA, which is something I always wanted to do, but
no, it's great. I mean, I think it's important to kind of provide value in as many situations as you can. And that's what it sounds like you're doing with your podcast. And that's something that I'm actively working on. I have a few podcasts that I'm trying to get launched this year myself. So I'm very excited about that. But at the core of that, it's the same thing. It's entertainment, it's insight, it's relatability, it's authenticity, and creating a space where people can enjoy themselves, but also grow at the same time.
Going back to you, Shannon, I'm going to try and jump back and forth here a little bit.
Sure.
You touched on it at the beginning, that you were contacted by Marvel and you went to LA to go to the Thor: Love and Thunder. But how did that come about? Was that something that had to do with your TikTok? Because I have seen a lot of influencers on TikTok getting contacted by these studios.
Yeah. I'll be honest with you. I'm not entirely sure how that came about in terms of where they saw my content. It's something that I've been doing. I know we just talked, I was speaking to you a couple of years ago, so something I've been doing for a few years now. But they reached out and they said, listen, we are contacting you for Thor. So that was kind of like the big thing that launched, the Thor craziness that I'm going through right now. And today's actually the day the movie is dropping too, so that's fun. But I don't know where they found me. I know I have a pretty decent following on TikTok somehow. I don't know why, but the followers are amazing and it's been fun. And I hope that has some kind of influence on it for how much work has gone into that. But I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I'm just glad that they did reach out.
Yeah. And come on, the stuff that you do, the cosplay that you've been doing over the years, and then you're putting it on TikTok.
Yes.
That's why you have those followers. It's don't sit there. I don't know why I have. It's
listen
incredible.
Though. I mean, thank you. I appreciate that. But like, it's not. I don't know. I'm just having fun. It's not like I'm on there for numbers or anything. And that's why I say that, because it's not. It's definitely something that I like doing, but it's not like I'm trying to purposely get attention off of it. So,
what did you think of the premiere? I'm guessing that was your first premiere that you've gone to. What did you think of that whole?
It was crazy. It was very, very overwhelming, but in a good way, I think. I got to meet a lot of the people that I've been inspired by as cosplayers. There was actually another Nebula there that I based my Nebula makeup off of a couple of years ago when I started. So I got to meet her for the first time, which was really fun. But yeah, it was really a great time. We got to walk down the carpet. We got to see the movie early. It's phenomenal in my opinion. So I hope everybody does go get a chance to see it. But it was a really great time. I hope I get to go back for more.
If you continue going the route you're going, I think it's without a doubt they'll keep contacting you. I saw the one TikTok that you did with Karen Gillan, and just how excited you looked, and she was great with you. And obviously, I mean, they're all the actors are going to be great with the fans, obviously, especially at an event like that. But just the excitement that you brought there, if Marvel sees that, they're going to want to showcase that a lot more, because that helps get people excited. And I think that is just one of the greatest things about what cosplayers do. And I love how much recognition they're finally getting more lately because of things like TikTok. It's that excitement, that those are the people that should be highlighted at big events, not just the actors. We know the actors, we can celebrate the actors, but I think the fans and those who are truly passionate about going above and beyond to celebrate these films and these stories, I think those are some of the people that should be highlighted. And I think you're going to continue getting highlighted. I really do.
Thank you. I hope so. We'll see how it goes.
So how did you two come about meeting each other? I mean, being, again, we're talking about you getting highlighted some more, Shannon. You're in contact with Brad here. What can Brad do to get you a little more? But honestly, where did you guys end up coming together at?
Shall I start, I guess? Okay. So really, I'm going to date it back to what our Post-Gazette article, the one that they wrote on me. I don't know I think I spoke to you about that last time we talked. If I didn't, the Post-Gazette did reach out about my Pittsburgh Iron Man cosplay that I made. And they actually reached out to Brad for a quote because he knew Jimmy as well, who it's dedicated to. I'm sure you can speak more on Jimmy there, but that's initially how we started talking. There are probably a few like back and forth social media contacts just because of Pittsburgh, but that's what I'm going to tell you it is. He may have a different story for you, though. I don't know.
No, Pittsburgh has been such a incredible connective tissue between people and opportunities, especially in this industry. You know, I frankly wouldn't be here in LA if it wasn't for Jimmy Rich. And the thing that brought that together is our love and passion for Pittsburgh and the Steelers. And I think my last name being Lambert really went a long way with Jimmy. But you know, that was a connective tissue. That Pittsburgh bond really brought us together, and we had a beautiful friendship in and around that. And yeah, Shannon did the incredible Pittsburgh Iron Man, which has been awesome. Me being a Pittsburgh guy and a Marvel fan, that is, you know, the best of both worlds for me. And then, you know, Jimmy being the connective tissue between both of us, you know, it was great to get to meet her back then, and we've been friends ever since.
So that's awesome.
Thank you.
So do you have any big plans for her, Brett? I'm kidding. Speaking of plans, Shannon, I know I saw you a few weeks ago, very briefly. You seemed very busy at Three Rivers Comic Convention, which I got to say was a great convention. I really liked how that all played out. I don't know if you had the same experience as I did, but
what day were you there?
I was there the first day.
Saturday?
Yeah.
Because he was too.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I wonder if you were standing there. I probably even asked, because I went up to somebody that was there by the table, the Pittsburgh Avengers table, and I said, "Hey, I'm looking for Shannon," and they pointed right to you. You were standing right there, but I couldn't tell it was you because you were in your Scarlet Witch cosplay, so I didn't even notice it was you.
Yeah, he would have been there at that point in time. I had a group of people there, but that's funny that you mentioned that because we were actually both there. He came into town for that, so.
But yeah, I mean, that was a great convention. But are you sticking to the convention circuit? Are you kind of moving through that, or are you just kind of staying local?
You know, I don't know. It's something that's fun to do. I know that for Three Rivers, I am very, close and work with the comic store that kind of helped run that put that on. So I've done a lot of work with them. That was the main reason why, I got to appear there in that capacity, and then also bring in the Avengers. Here on out, I don't really know. I'm just kind of going with whatever, comes up, because I love meeting people in different cities. Traveling is, it can be difficult though. So right now, LA keeps calling me for things. So I've been back and forth there a lot. I'm going to San Diego in a week and a half now. I don't even know, but I'd like to do more, as as a guest, but we'll see what happens again. For me, like cosplaying and doing all these appearances is really just fun. So it's not anything that I have like a strict schedule or set of rules for right now.
Yeah.
If that changes, I don't know, but
I think that's conventions have been great for highlighting, different types of creativity. And in Pittsburgh, we really only have the two, and the second one, the Three Rivers Comic Con, is really still pretty new. Although I feel that they highlight the cosplayers a lot more than the other one does, than Steel City Con does. And that's not a knock on Steel City Con. They like to stay in their lane with a lot of the big names and get a lot of movie and television stars to highlight there. So that's the one reason why I really liked what they did with Three Rivers Comic Con this year, because it was highlighting a lot of the creators that don't get recognition. And I mean, I'll go back to it. I love highlighting that. I love people getting to see that. But if I'm telling you, if you get a chance, I mean, you need to just keep going out for people to see what you've been doing, especially your rescue cosplay, and even your Scarlet Witch was great. Your Nebula one is great. I mean, you have so many different characters that you could do. You could probably go to every convention this year and have a different cosplay for everyone. So I
have like my own closet that's just dedicated. Like the entire closet is just cosplay related things. And sometimes that's a good thing, but other times I look at it and I'm like, there's way too much in here. But you're right. I do have way too many.
Being in Pittsburgh to where you're at now has been absolutely incredible. Again, I'm just looking off of what I'm seeing on IMDb and on your website. But my question is, what has really driven you to continue pushing to be where you're at?
I mean, happiness. I mean, as cliche as that sounds, I love entertainment. I love sports. I'm an experienced guy. I'm not a monetary driven guy. I've done so much free work in my life that my parents to this day are sick about it. But doing that free work to not only get experience, prove yourself, build relationships, and get further opportunities because of that. But like, I'm an experienced guy, so like I love what I've gotten to do, what I've gotten to experience, the people I've been able to share rooms with and conversations with. I mean, that's what lights me up. And these events, the premieres, the games, these conventions that I get to go to, and those experiences that you walk away with really fuel me. So for me, it's about becoming a better version of myself, continually growing, continually challenging myself, but also at the same time trying to rack up more and more experiences. Because, when I go to a premiere, I'm not there like some people, for clout and for photos and brag rights and all this stupid shit. But I'm there to soak up every single second, because you never know when it's going to be your last. And those experiences truly are the best way to see a movie. If you like going to the movies, going to a red carpet premiere is the ultimate best way to experience a film firsthand. It's the best night out on the town. I mean, I think it's the epitome of what Hollywood is. And I've been able to go to premieres since 2015. So that, my first one was Avengers Age of Ultron. And, Jimmy Rich was my golden ticket. And he knew how much I loved Marvel and films and how much I wanted to attend these events, that anytime an event rolled around, I didn't even have to ask. He just would hit me up with tickets and say, "You're going," which I, of course, was there without hesitation. But Jimmy had a trend when he would text you days and times, you attend. You just go. So that was always you get a text from Jimmy and it's like, this date, this time, be there. All right, you're there. Trust me, you won't want to miss it. So, but yeah, I mean, that for me has been what has guided me to this point. I want to be around the people that I love. I want to be around the things that I love, and I want to be involved in the things that make me happy. This industry is extremely vicious and full of failures and setbacks, and you have to have a very thick skin to wade the waters and stay above the water. But I mean, that's kind of what you sign up for when you come out here, and you just have to be smart and creating the crowd that you surround yourself with, because it's the wild, wild west out here for a reason.
Well, first off, I feel like we're talking to the wrong person. We should be talking to that Jimmy guy from the sound of it.
Yeah.
Jimmy
So
is a legend.
But honestly, I was looking at things. There was an article that popped up when I was researching you, Brad, from the Post Gazette. And
Yes.
there was a really interesting quote at the end of that you gave. And I'm going to read this here. It says, if you can provide value, identify ways that you can make people's lives and businesses better. You'll get opportunities. And if you can do that consistently, your phone will always ring. It's a great way of looking at, you're not just looking to better yourself, but find ways to better the lives around you. And
Correct.
that'll help lead you to be better yourself. And that's kind of what I got out of all that. And again, it's something that I feel I try to do, and I like seeing that it works for people. So maybe it'll work for me sometime.
It does. I mean, most people don't put others first. They put themselves first, and that's where and why we live in a very selfish world. Why egos and narcissism fuel most every industry that we're in. But you really set yourself apart when you don't come at it from that angle, and you can reach out and honestly and genuinely provide value to others. And when you're always providing value, it doesn't always have to be immense, huge value. But if you're helping and you're assisting and you're providing that value consistently, your phone will always ring, because people will need your help. You will be the person, the guy, the girl who is always getting these opportunities. And I think that's something that is a great opportunity for any person to just be in that place of, oh, I need help, I'm calling this person. I need help, I'm calling that person. And you get used and abused constantly, but there is no more gratifying way to live life other than being in service of others. And that's something that a person of value who's providing value is one who is constantly there for others at any capacity. And like I said, if you're trying to live a life of happiness and gratitude, that's the way to do it, because your heart will always be full.
This kind of brings me to my next point, because talking to you here, talking to Shannon, and there was some things that have been said about you over the last 6 months or so that seem to be some damning accusations a little bit in regards to your authenticity of who you are. So how have you responded to these comments, and how do you expect to pull yourself out of the negativity that it has brought you?
I mean, that experience was a living, waking nightmare. I mean, there is no other way to explain it. You felt like you were screaming into the void, and no one was listening because no one wanted to listen. It didn't fit the narrative that group was trying to craft and push out. And they were very loud about the things that they said, yet they provided no evidence of any kind to substantiate their claims. And, if I sit here and say the sky is purple, that's about as accurate as any of the other things that they've said. But because I said it, it must be true, right? I'm a verified creator. Does that mean it's true? No. If you're going to come out in a public grievance situation such as that, you need to bring receipts. And they didn't have any, which is why nothing was featured in that rap article. And I supplied the rap with a Google Drive folder of hundreds of screenshots of text, DMs, emails, bank transactions, invoices, etc., to completely obliterate these claims and give much needed context to a situation that was lacking. None of that was used in that rap article, because it's tough to paint someone as a bad guy when you have all this evidence that proves that he's not. So that was a really interesting experience. Like I said, like I was screaming into the void and like, this is wrong, this is not accurate, check this out, watch this, read this. And it was done for attention and sympathy and clicks and website traffic and credit card submissions, all at my expense. And I watched my entire world get burned down in a 2 to 3 day span. my reputation, my credibility, my character, everything that I've spent the last 15 plus years building, all based on unsubstantiated claims and allegations. There's no litigation against me because none of what they said is true. I think there's a lot of misconception and misunderstanding of what using means. So if someone's using you, they are getting immense value, access, experience, things in return. And then when you need something from them, they never answer the phone, they never text you back, and they're never there for you. And when that happens consistently, you find out very quickly that people are using you. But this younger generation has latched onto that phrase. And when it's used by the younger generation, it comes from a place of entitlement, insecurity, and ego. And that's the problem, where everyone in this conversation, they are very entitled. Most are incredibly young, naive, immature, and inexperienced. But they feel very high and mighty due to the platforms that they have. But the thing that I've said multiple times is my track record prior to this, clean, no issues. Look at the article that was written a calendar year prior to that rap article talking about me, Brad Lambert, a Hollywood talent manager who makes dreams come true. And in that article, there's 4 people who've known me for collectively almost 50 years. That's 50. And the people in this article, there was 5 individuals who've known me for less than, I think, 7 or 8 years. That's profound. So, there's a big difference there. And I think a lot of people need to understand that. But, social media following, social media platforms, that stuff's very cool. I brought my immense value in my experience personally and professionally of the last 15 plus years in the sports and entertainment industries, working with sports teams, agencies, brands, celebrities, some of the biggest studios on the planet, and some of the biggest names on the planet. That's my experience. One of those things can disappear overnight, and it's not my experience. So social media can go bye-bye tomorrow, and then these 20-year-old kids are left with nothing. So, there is a big, vast difference of I'm fully supportive of people who come out with receipts and backing what they say. But if you're going to come out and be very loud and aggressive and victimhood of deflecting the blame and creating a smear campaign to ruin somebody, you better bring receipts. And they don't have any, because if they did, they would have put them in the rap article, which there was nothing, and there still is nothing. But, they're young, immature, and inexperienced. They have a lot of growing up to do. They've made many mistakes, and I'm just looking to clear my name because it was thrown into a blender for no reason. I had people I've known for years disappear overnight. I've had friends sit in the shadows of social media and watch my stories and not even inquire about my well-being. I've had roommates who I was very close with years ago who've come out of the woodwork for their 5 seconds of fame and now are friends mysteriously with all these individuals. So it's just such a pathetic, space and how these people decide to move. And Taya Miller, one of the people who was anonymous in the article with lack of evidence and claims of any kind, she launched her Twitter account the day the article went live to ride the momentum of the social media to build her following all at my expense. And then she's on TikTok yesterday talking about how bullying exists in this space and it's unacceptable. And she's trying to be a champion and blah, 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 blah. And I'm just like, the industry is so fake, and people want to say that I'm fake when the track record, the articles, the content, everything that exists there is there. Yet these people who have no track record, have no experience, have no credibility. First off, credibility is earned with time, experience, and accomplishments. None of these people have any of those things. They all are very young. They have no semblance of a resume. They have no status quo of professional experience, and they've all been in the industry for less than 3 years. Yet credibility was instantly given to a group of 20-year-old kids fresh out of high school. Explain that to me. I'm 33 years old. I've been in the industry for 7 years and have had no problems at any capacity up till then and before when I was in the sports industry. Yeah. So, I take responsibility for my error and my misunderstanding of the Talent Agency Act in California, which I was not allowed to negotiate on behalf of people, but that was just added value that I was trying to help these young professionals who don't have experience in negotiating with. So, that a lot of people have the assumption that I scammed them out of all this money. And if we're being realistic, okay, if you want honesty, I made less than $5,000 working with Matt and Taya over the last year and a half. $5,000 for a year and a half worth of work. If we're really being honest, if you want to do nickel and dime, it's probably less than $3,000. But I gave you a little bit of cushion there. But that's the amount of money that I scammed them.
Yeah.
When in reality, it's like I only got paid 15% of what I worked on, and the time and effort that I put in to both Matt and Taya and all these people for that matter, I'm making way less than minimum wage. But I don't do management to get rich. I do management because I love helping people, and I'm damn good at it.
When you talk about this generation, for instance, there is this sense of entitlement I've found with this generation, or this younger generation. I myself am 36, and watching these kids, social media has really tarnished them a good bit, because
100%.
They get any sense of accomplishment from social media, they then feel like they're not in there. Everything they do is gold. That it's perfect for them. Some of the people that you're speaking of, or at least one person that you're speaking of, I've tried contacting many times, and I actually know somebody who knew him personally, and he wouldn't talk to me. Not the slightest bit. Wouldn't even talk to me. So I get it. I get that, where the anger, and not the anger, but more the, just disappointment comes when somebody, they had to work their way up, and they get to a point where, sometimes you need to just turn around and, lend a hand to help other people up. And that's kind of what I see you did. You were willing to turn and help these people up. And it got to a point where they just said, you know what, forget you. I'm just going to go do my own thing.
That sounds like using, doesn't it? They get what you want, and then once you get exactly you drop it.
And to me, I don't get it. I was hesitant to bring this up with you, because I don't really know what to say in regards to it, because it is just a shitty situation. There's no reason for it at all. Like,
well, I'm going to be real with you, man. Like this entire situation drove me to near suicide. And when you have your entire life that you've worked your ass off to build to a certain point, and build relationships and build credibility and build reputations and be semi-successful in one of the toughest industries that exists, and then everything disappears overnight because of hearsay, that I would much rather look back and say, well, Brad, you shouldn't have done XYZ. And then, you can learn from this moving forward. But none of what they said is accurate. When you tell 12% of the truth, you're not being truthful, you're lying. Mm-hmm. And that's what they did. They left out a lot of information and context and detail of our relationship and the value that I brought and our personal relationships as friends. And they painted me as a suit in Hollywood that uses young influencers for his own fame and fortune, which I'm not famous, and I didn't get rich off of them. So right there, incorrect. Right. But that's the problem is, you look back at this and, for them, do you think they honestly considered that this could have driven me to the point of suicide? Do you think they thought of that? Do you think, is this necessary? Because we are going to try to destroy him. Clearly, this was why this was done, to prove a point, to flex power, and to impact me in a negative way. That's what slander means, okay? So when you slander someone, that means you're saying something that's knowingly false to hurt, harm, or injure someone else, which is what happened here. So do you think they thought this through? And is this worth it?
Right. And I want to go back to like what you said about social media, though, just being the culprit here with younger kids. And I say that like I'm younger myself, and this is fun when you guys are like, oh, I'm 36, I'm 33, and I'm like still not 30 yet. But I originally, I witnessed this whole thing too with him going on, and that's exactly why I told you that my numbers on my social media don't matter. I don't, anticipate being invited back to things because that's not why I'm doing this. When there is a certain crowd where, like he's saying, there's attention. That's all that anybody wants, and once you get that ego, and that's not something that I hope I'm not doing that, but that's not something that I anticipate doing myself because that's not why I was there in the first place. It's not entitlement. You work for what you want to achieve. And I don't know. I just, as soon as you asked me about coming on as well to talk with you guys again, you asked me about what my last year has been like, and I immediately dropped you a list of people that have positively influenced my last year and got me here, Brad being one of them. So I do want to say that, like, watching it from the outside and being one of those people that had to literally be like, are you awake today every day? It was not a fun experience at all.
Shannon was one of the biggest supporters that I had, which is amazing, but also sad considering I haven't known her very long, when I've known people for 7 years plus who disappeared overnight out of their own, self-interest, out of, hopping on the bandwagon to get some extra fame and social media numbers for themselves. But, if I'm being very frank, this group, the rap, Umberto, and the people included in that article are very lucky that they do not have my death on their conscience. And I'm being very, very blunt because I lost everything. I did. And none of it was warranted. And I've taken responsibility for my Talent Agency Act misunderstanding, but that did not directly impact these people at all in a negative way. So everything else that they said was half truths, twisted facts, and completely fabricated stories. And, I'm sure they assumed it was going to blow up way more than it did, but when it lasted for 2 days and then nobody said a word of it ever since, and then you have Taya out on social media trying to be an advocate for anti-bullying.
Okay.
Let's talk about
he's
deflection.
Very,
Deflecting 101.
Very, very, worked up about it. And I just, I'm glad that you're still here. I'm glad that you're still here.
I'm an authentic person. Okay. Shannon knows this. I'm a straight arrow. I will tell you straight up, good or bad, what's on my mind. I'm not fake. I've never been that way. I wasn't raised that way. I'm from Pittsburgh. We're from a blue collar town. Okay. We're very straight, very authentic, genuine, family oriented. We are family. Okay. We know this about Pittsburgh, right? So coming out here, I stood out like a sore thumb because I refuse to play the games that they play out here of putting on a facade, so to speak, or wearing a mask behind a character that you create on social media. That's not who I am. I am the exact same person that I've been since I've lived in Pittsburgh. And that's one of the best compliments that I get to this day from people who have known me for decades, that you haven't changed a bit. You might have gotten a little bit more exposure and awareness in social media numbers, but you're still Brad. And I stand by that, and I will for the rest of my life. But I'm also not perfect, and I do make mistakes. But my mistakes do not hurt, harm, or injure or use other people. So let's be very clear. But once again, I think the space that we're in, this situation sets a very dangerous precedent because it shows young kids and young professionals and young influencers that they can just shoot off their mouths with no reason or justification in doing so without evidence of any kind. And they're all putting themselves in litigation territory because slander is very real. But I also want to say this too. If someone's talking shit on you, but it's based in truth and fact and reality, that is not slander. That is truth. It's only slander when it's a lie. So that's another thing a lot of people need to understand, where if you are said to be unprofessional, missing deadlines, not paying people, that's not slander because it's based in fact and reality. And that's the difference, where I think a lot of people use slander as a cop-out for, oh, this person's slandering me. No, someone's speaking factual about you, and you just don't like it because it makes you look bad.
And social media has definitely aided in that. So
but that's the space we're in now, and I think it's, I never sought out to be an influencer. I despise that word. I despise influencers. I don't like that because they are all very, for the most part, very selfish. entitled and arrogant. I love people who use social media as a tool to make others better, whether they're teaching them something, entertaining people, being a positive light in a dark world. I like people who utilize social media as a tool. If they're using social media as who they are as people and it's directly tied to their identity, that's a problem. And that's putting you in a very dangerous territory for very detrimental impacts to your health and well-being and to those around you. But that's social media, where like I would rather have a group of 5 friends that I can trust and love and be cool with than have 5 million followers any day of the week. But most people in today's world want these fake faceless people, who follow them all over the world and look at that as value. But then when they kind of take the mask off and their character off and they look in the mirror and they realize they don't have any genuine people around them, it's a very alienating, lonely feeling.
Well, Brad, thank you for talking about that. Again, I was
I just
hesitant.
don't want it to happen to anybody else, man.
Yeah.
Like, I am very lucky to be here today, and I'm looking to clear the air and get what I lost back and move forward. And I wish everyone in that article all the best moving forward, but they're going to have to live with their role in this, and that's on them. But moving forward, I hope they all have a great future. I hope they're all happy and successful, but I'm just trying to move forward with my life. They started this conversation. I am finishing it, and I'm moving on.
Yeah. And that's pretty much the best you can do at this point. I mean, you have
Amen.
to focus on yourself from this point forward and not worry about anything that anybody what anybody says at all. And, again, thank you for talking about it. I was hesitant. I didn't want to strike a nerve. And as you could tell a little bit ago, I was a little just taken aback. Like, how do I talk about this? Because I didn't want to say the wrong thing. I didn't want to.
No, I mean, at the end of the day, it's a chapter in my book.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a hell of a chapter in the book, best believe. But that's the thing, I can't wait to get back on stage because, man, they have supplied me with so much content to talk about now. So my next college tour that I do, the next time I'm on stage, the topics of discussion are not going to be hypothetical. They are going to be built in reality and truth of what I just went through. So I'm very thankful for the lessons and experiences that I've gained through this time, but I'm very excited to now that I'm back and I'm moving forward. I'm doing Comic-Con at the end of the month, D23. I have a lot of stuff coming up in the future. So, I'm just, my reputation and my relationships and my credibility meant the world to me. And I'm looking to justify that and get that back and then just move forward. That's it. So there's no right or wrong, man. Everybody's entitled to their opinions on people and things. But, I look at it in a situation such as if someone looks at you and tells you Thor Love and Thunder sucks, are you not going to go see Thor Love and Thunder because someone
They're
told you
very wrong if they do.
You know what I mean? But that's the point. It's like people make opinions on things. That's fine. They're entitled to do that. But get your information, get your facts, look at the stuff in front of you. Go see the movie yourself before you make an opinion on it. And I would recommend you do that with people and other things as well before you jump to conclusions.
Going back to what you were saying about, you're just happy to be alive at this point. And just know, I mean, we just met. Reach out to me on social media
Anytime,
if you ever need to talk, man. I just hearing that kind of stuff just upsets me, and it's just
it was upsetting, and I'm sure Shannon has her own thoughts on how upsetting it was because, like I said, I've seen friends deal with bullying. I mean, Shannon too. I've seen her deal with it, and
it's been very interesting to see because there's been people in the cosplay community who got wind of everything whenever it came out and directly attacked me just for knowing him, right? And
so stupid.
I think that's another reason why when you reached out, I was like, you should have him chat with us because there were a lot of ties in this last year, and I wouldn't be where I am, I don't think, without the support of several different people in the last year, and one of the big ones being Brad. So it was very difficult to watch, when there's somebody that's sitting there doing all of this, but still like supporting me and helping my whatever I do, whether it's cosplay or other things. But, it's not fun to watch. I think I told you several times I had to call you and be like, are you the live today.
She's seen me
And
at my worst.
it
Like,
was bad.
it's
Yeah.
been fun for her to kind of comment on it because I just saw her very recently and she was basically talking about how I was night and day from the last time she saw me. And the last
Totally
time she
different.
saw me was literally in the at the height of everything that was happening. And when you have like my friends and my sister, and I remember my sister dragged me out to get some food a few days after the article came out, and she looked at me out of the blue and was like, you spent your whole life, dedicated to your career, your relationships, and your reputation. And now that you've lost everything, I'm worried about you. And that was a harsh dose of reality to see the severity of the situation, where my sister is basically saying, like, I'm worried you're going to hurt yourself. And I'm very lucky to have had the support system that I did, and also have the tolerance for failure and adversity that I've built over the last 15 years. Because if I didn't have those things, I don't think I survived this.
And he gets it a lot worse because of what's going on. But again, I've had people obviously, hate on me on social media, whatever. But that's a big part of it. I want to reiterate that to you, and I know I tell you this all the time, but I would not be able to handle anything that I'm doing to this capacity now, as compared to what it was last year, because it's grown so significantly, without your advice or without your help too while you're doing this. So yeah, I just want to make that clear as well,
No, I
because
appreciate that.
even during all of this, you have still been like the most helpful person. So,
but that just goes back to, like, I truly believe we all have the opportunity and the ability to make the world a better place and make people around us better, but we have to care enough to do so. And the amount of people that this isn't grandiose or, oh, look how amazing I am, but like the amount of people that I still helped grow and get opportunities and make money and just be there for them during the darkest period in my life. I'm not doing a parade around town telling people that, but that's what I was doing, because helping people is what made me happy in the worst period of my life. I even sent deals to Matt Ramos and Straw Hat Goofy after they cut me off. So, like, when you talk about taking the high road, exhibit A of taking the high road, because I can lay my head down at night and know my conscience is clear, because I know who I am. I know what I did.
Yeah.
But a lot of people from an accountability standpoint don't want to take accountability for their actions. And that's where they deflect blame and portray stuff on other people and projecting stuff on other people. And it's social media is such a wonderful tool. It allows us to connect with people. I connected with Shannon because of social media. I connected with Jimmy Rich because of social media. I connected with so many athletes and talent and influencers because of social media. It allows you to connect with people around the world, and that's an amazing thing. But the other side of that coin, it is the most disgusting place, because people feel really powerful behind their phones and their computers, where they feel the need to degrade and put other people down to make themselves feel better. And it's I don't know if their parents missed the lesson of, like, if you don't have anything nice to say, just shut the hell up. But that is lost on this generation, and they think it's funny to be cruel, when in reality it's the lamest thing on the world. So I think it's something that the next generation and the young people who are on social media, instead of saying something mean, how about you say something nice? But that's the world we live in now, where look at how movies are you know critiqued now, where everyone's like, this movie sucks, this, that, and the other. No movie's perfect, no show's perfect, but there's always something positive to say about this piece of art that thousands of people put together, right? But that's not what we do now. People just feel the need to shit on things and say nasty things, instead of finding something positive to say. But that's how they've wired their mindset, and that's where ultimately it'll hurt them in the long run. But I there's so much good that can happen on social media, and the amount of people that I've gotten messages from. When the article came out, I was sent the most vile, disgusting, hateful things for months. You're a snake, you're a horrible person, I hope you fail at life, like threatening my life. Like, it was disgusting. Like, it was just like, these young kids who follow Soups and those people who don't know what they're talking about, but they're there to defend the honor of this person that doesn't even know they exist. I mean, I was sent disgusting, hateful things for months, and I have a thick skin, but when it happens consistently for months, it sucks the life out of you. And that's where I kind of stepped away completely because I couldn't deal with it anymore.
Mhm.
Like, it was just so sad. And a lot of these people, if you clap back at them and be like, "Oh, thanks for the love," they're like, "Oh my gosh, you responded, amazing." And you're like, "You just said I was a piece of shit, and now you're excited that I responded to you." But now, since my articles with Nikki Swift have come out with all my evidence and receipts, and my videos on TikTok that have been, really exploding because people are kind of just baffled at how insane the situation is and was. I've been getting DMs, emails from people like, "Will you sign me? Can you be my manager?" Or, I got one yesterday from someone who basically said that they were so impressed with how I handled the situation from a professionalism standpoint, where I let the hate die down. I came back with receipts, and I've handled the situation like a true professional. And that was something that was very important for me, because I have stuff that would really blow past the line of professionalism, but I have elected to not, tiptoe in that area, because I'm not that kind of person, and I don't want to play their game.
Yeah.
I'm not going to stoop to their level. So, I am just clearing my name and addressing the claims that they've said, and that's it. I'm just moving on. But I want people who are watching this show to really understand that, we all have the capacity to impact people in a good way. And you honestly have no idea how a little gesture of kindness, such as complimenting someone or saying something nice on social media, can change someone's life. And I will tell you, the days that I was at my lowest, I would still get some supportive messages and some love from random people around the world. And that is what helped me really keep going. And even now that my stuff is out, the support increases by the day. And it's been just amazing to see that there are people out there who are open to another side to the story, and reading an article, or taking the time to listen to a podcast, or look at evidence, and then make an educated decision on what they believe to be true or not. But, call me crazy, but I'm always going to side with the person who actually has evidence. So that's just me.
We're gonna kind of get back to Shannon here, and
Yeah.
No, but listen, like, because I'm glad that he got to talk about that, because it has been a part of my life too. I mean, it's
it has.
And I'm happy that you're getting these outlets to put everything out there, get your side told, because that is important. That is extremely important. And
Yeah.
I would have to agree with whoever told you how professional and how well you handled it.
Thanks, man.
It seems like you've done a really good job
Yeah.
of it. You really have. And I do hope the best for you coming back out, coming
Thanks,
out of
man.
this, and being stronger than before, because it is a lesson. You have to take what happened and treat it as a lesson, and learn something from it to be able to move forward.
Well, I agree with that wholeheartedly. And whatever doesn't kill you simply makes you stronger.
Yeah.
And that's I think a mistake on their end.
That's for
Because
the great Kelly Clarkson. So
well, I was gonna go with the Heath Ledger Joker and say stranger, but I didn't do that. But the other thing, what was funny is, through this whole process, I kept thinking about that, which is coming out the other end better, more tough, and experienced, and that was what made me excited. And I really thought about a scene from season 2 in Daredevil, where John Bernthal's Punisher has Daredevil wrapped up on the wall, and Daredevil kind of says, like, "What happens, Frank? What happens when someone decides you deserve it?" And Frank goes, "I tell you what, they better not miss." And that's exactly how I feel about this situation. So I'm excited to move forward, put all of this behind me, and like I said, I'm a good person. I don't wish ill will on anyone, and certainly I wish them all the best. And that's honest, because I don't have it in me to be a hateful person, as much as I think some people wish I should at moments, but it's just not who I am. So I think there's a lesson for everybody, and just life, and just, we all have the capacity to be better. And I think it's a conscious choice you have to make. And it is easier to be mean and degrading and nasty to people, instead of taking the time to really be nice. And I just wish, call me naive, but I think we can be better.
All right, so let's move on to some more things with Shannon. I mean, I really, honestly, I'm sitting here thinking this whole time, like, man, we should have really set up a time for me and Brad and me and Shannon, because I do want to talk a lot more about what's been going on with you, Shannon, because I also noticed you have a Twitch channel, and I don't know if you had it when we last talked or if it's something new, but what is it that you're doing over there? I mean,
I don't know. Another connection why I have him on here, he's the reason I'm on Twitch, because he does these fantastic watch parties and that literally make me nocturnal and then angry at him the next day. But I would pop in for that. I think you and a couple other people kept telling me, get Twitch, get on Twitch, come join this. So I did. And then from there, I think after we spoke last time, I had another show interview that was actually streamed on YouTube. And after I did that, it was focused on like 3D printing, creating, all that fun stuff. And they hit me up again like a month later, and they were like, do you want to come on here as co-host? So now that's like a thing that I do every Monday is co-host this show, right? And during this progress of like coming on board with that, we had this idea like, hey, why don't we wind up on Twitch as well? Because we're already streaming to Facebook, to YouTube, whatever. And that kind of just turned into its own thing, because I met so many supportive people that were in that audience that wanted just to come on and talk to me while I work on things, and I'll have this setup. I'll have like, I'm working on redoing Wanda right now in like a week, because I'm insane and like to do things last minute, but that's how I wound up on there. And now I just kind of hang out. Another thing that's definitely different with me though is I don't like going on stream just to sit and talk about myself, so I think that point's even proven where we chatted about this, and I was like, no, all these people help me out here. So I do the same thing with my streaming, because I'll tell the community, if you're working on something, come on here with me, right? So we'll have like just hangouts, really. And I'm on Tuesdays and Saturdays right now, and sometimes some random days in between, but people come on and just show off what they're working on and just chat. Like we've helped each other like fix our printers, or like work on. My friend's crazy and has done a legitimate like heads up display in an Iron Man helmet that is wearable and like detects everything, and it's insane. But he's been on stream while he's worked on it, so we've all got to see like this the progress on it. So that's why I'm on Twitch. That was a very complicated answer, but
no,
that's what I'm doing on there right now.
And I hope that people who watch this check you out, because that's pretty cool. That's a different aspect, because I was literally going to say like, Twitch and cosplay don't really go together, but you've made it work. You've made it a thing, and people
apparently,
I don't know. Maybe others were doing it before you. I don't know, but even if so, again, just to be able to sit there and support each other, support everyone who wants to do creative things, cosplay or what have you, I think that's great and very admirable, because you're not just focusing on yourself, and that is a great thing to do for sure. Now, I have a whole plethora of more questions, but we're getting close to that hour mark here. But what I'm going to do, I hope that I can get either one or both of you on again at some point in time, even if it's just us, two of us talking or what have you, because I'm really enjoying the conversation here for sure. But normally the way that I like to try and end my shows now is I call them the Fast 5 geek questions of sorts.
Oh boy.
But you don't need to be quick with answering. If you want to, great. You don't have to. These questions here are a little more, whenever I made this, it's a little more leaning towards cosplaying aspects. So, Brad, if you want to get in on it, you can.
He's a cosplayer now.
All right. Well, there you go.
I made him Arrow, and now he's Green Arrow from time to time. So
she did indeed.
All right, I got to see that. Anyways, so the first one, the number 5. What has been your favorite event that you've attended to this point?
I mean, okay, you're gonna ask me that having like no experience with these things and him having like a plethora of it, but I'm gonna go with Thor because 2 weeks ago,
Yeah.
whenever that was insane and just totally different from anything else. The atmosphere and just like the energy of everyone else that was there. When he said that it was the way to watch a movie, like that's not a lie, because it was the audience reaction and being in a theater full of like other nerds that just love what you're witnessing, no complaints. So I'm gonna have to go with the Thor premiere. Really, that was a lot of fun.
And for the record, one of us was at the Thor premiere, and it wasn't me. So, but I would say the Avengers Endgame premiere was just.
I could only imagine the buzz around that movie was.
Yeah, I mean, what was crazy is it wasn't at the traditional Dolby Chinese, El Capitan. They did that. Those were the satellite premieres. But the real premiere, Disney rented out the convention center in LA. Yep. They built a theater inside of the convention center and then tore it down right after. Like, Disney's events are always superior. I mean, they always knock it out of the park. But that was just, it felt like its own Comic-Con almost, right?
That was an event, yeah.
I mean,
they
that
threw
was
us
insane.
for that because I actually was in LA for that, and I went out, but I didn't get an invite. They didn't have an actual like fan pit, and I don't know how, but I became in charge of like 300 people on the street that were like bringing me poster board. And then eventually Disney's executives, or I don't know who it was, but they came out and they were like, all right, we don't want this on the news, so we'll make you a fan pit. So yeah, that was an experience from the outside too, not just the inside.
Yeah, it was like the Oscars. I mean, the amount of people that were there, like, that weren't in the film. I mean, it's funny because, like, I had no business being there, but I was there. So I'm, like, sitting around, I'm looking, there's Miley Cyrus, there's Kevin Hart, there's, all these massive actors, not to mention the stars of the film. But it was just awesome to, like I said, those moments mean the most. And I can't wait to get back.
So number 4, what has been your favorite non-rescue cosplay that you've done? And I'm going to take this a step further, non-rescue and non-Pittsburgh Iron Man.
God. That's not fair. Does it have to be for myself?
Yeah, for what you've done.
Because honestly, my favorite one to make has been his arrow recently. Oh. But I guess that counts as mine because we both can wear it because we're weirdly the same size. But I'm going to like sit here and turn around and be like, what's on my floor right now? I don't know the answer to that. It was probably Nebula up until 2 weeks ago when I decided I never want to touch that ever again in my life because it was just such a long process. Oh boy, I don't know. I really don't know. I'd have to think about that. I'm gonna probably just go with his arrow that I made because it was a lot of fun and just something that I was not familiar with and just kind of went at it and said, I'm gonna do this in like a week because I have, no chill in this apparently. But and that was my first like attempt at making something really for somebody else with absolutely no measurements.
Well, Brad, since you've only done one cosplay, it sounds, what would you say is your favorite cosplay that Shannon's done?
Oh boy.
Oh man.
And I'll give you. You can say rescue if you want. You can say anything.
You haven't seen a lot of them though. I mean, you've seen some of them.
I think the Scarlet Witch was really well done. I enjoyed that one. That was really cool.
It. Oh, okay.
No, I agree with him on the Scarlet. Like I said, when I was at the convention a few weeks back last month, I legitimately walked right by you, didn't even recognize it was you. So
that's all makeup. Like, trust me, like you don't want to see my face when I don't have it on. But that's weird to me because I was only in that for like 2 hours that day. I got out of that really fast.
So,
thank you guys, though.
What would you say is your most anticipated upcoming Marvel project? Yeah, I mean, you're a big Marvel fan. I know you're a fan of more than just Marvel, but what would you say? Nobody wants to talk about DC right now, so.
In terms of what, just films?
Project.
Or
it could
TV
be films,
shows, whatever.
TV shows, whatever. Yeah, what is it that you're looking forward to the most? And is it something that you may want to adapt into one of your future cosplays even?
Well, I don't know that I have one specific one. I'm going to be honest with you. While I still love Marvel and I'm still going out to see these movies as they come out, they killed my favorite character. So, um, I I'm gonna say Guardians for now because I am really excited about that. I still love their storyline. But if you're asking me in terms of cosplay, I actually started Wasp like
Oh,
a year ago and then just kind of put it on the back burner. But I think it's gonna come back out and get finished. So
that's pretty cool.
one of those two movies.
My in our podcast network, Evangeline Lilly actually did a podcast with one of the guys that's in my network,
Hey, that's
and
cool.
Andrew Sumner, and she's an amazing human being, and I think that'd be great if you did Wasp. That would be really
Yeah,
cool to see.
I want to like be all dramatic with it and like make the wings come out
That'd be
and
really
that
cool.
fun stuff because
If anyone can do it, she can. So
Yeah. What about
just
you,
give her
Brad?
some
What,
time.
what are you looking forward to? What are you most anticipating or
I mean,
excited for?
I've thoroughly enjoyed the Disney Plus series. I think they've done a really, really great job with those. So there's a few, She-Hulk, I think is going to be hilarious. I've heard good things about that. But as far as films go, I'm very intrigued about Black Panther 2.
Hmm.
I love the world of Wakanda. I'm excited to see them continue to dive into that and expand that space. Obviously, it is not going to be the same without the devastating loss of Chadwick Boseman. So I am very curious to see how they are going to pivot in a respectful manner with that. But yeah, I mean, I think Wakanda Forever is going to be a really big one moving forward. Ant-Man 3, Quantumania. I think King the Conqueror, I mean, there's a lot. And I still got love for Spidey. So Spidey 4, when that, I think I'm hoping for an announcement at SDCC,
Be nice.
but yeah, I mean, I think regardless, we're going to continue to eat with Disney and Marvel. So I'm excited.
Definitely. All right. This should be an easy one for you to answer. If you had to choose between Marvel, Star Wars, or DC, and you had to get rid of the other two, what would you choose? And this
that's
is all
actually
of their
not
content.
that's not as easy as you would think it would be for me. Because listen, my original fandom is Star Wars, and I don't talk about it a lot because nobody that I know really is into it as much as me. But
I'm offended.
Yeah, and I'm right here. I mean, we
you've
don't
been
know
to
each other.
Disney how many times doing all this amazing Star Wars stuff, and I'm so jealous. No, if you want to have a Star Wars chat, we will. But I don't know because, like I just said, Marvel's wonderful and all, and that's my go-to right now. But I'm not as tied in once you leave the OG. So I'm weirdly probably going to tell you that I'd keep Star Wars. I just think that that's more content that I could sit and rewatch over and over and over again.
Mhm.
I mean, Marvel.
I know I'm throwing everyone for a loop there, but
I will say that the Star Wars Disney Plus shows that it makes it a difficult conversation to have because I adore.
and as I said, nobody even mentions DC. Just
no.
All right, and then final quick question: what is one thing about yourself that you think is cool or strange that others may not know about you?
Like you said, cool or strange. So
cool or
for
strange.
you, yes, but
cool or strange.
Like I had somebody one time tell me like they could like put their arm in a weird way. It's just something ridiculous that maybe you've never told.
It's not me, but I don't really tell people this. But my second cousin is Leonardo DiCaprio, so I have like a movie tie. Yeah, he's baffled. I never told you this either.
Interesting. Have you actually met him?
What?
No. This is why I don't tell people this. But yeah, it's not really about me, but I mean that's just something that like
that's kind of about you.
Knows.
I mean, you have a connection. How about you, Brad? What do you got?
I am I was in a performance troupe in middle school. That in Pittsburgh they were called the North Star Kids. It was one of the biggest performing troupes. you had to audition. Thousands of kids did it, and I did it for I think 2 years before I moved. I performed in Disney World, which was amazing.
I
I did
still
the
want to see
national
that
anthem
video.
at a Pirates game. I did the Mouseketeer like training when I was down at Disney.
Jeez.
So like I was a performer until my voice changed, and then I hung up the cleats, so to speak. But yeah, that's I guess the more you know. But I've had a performing background for a while, so
Again, both of you, thank you so much for joining me on here and talking.
thanks for
with
having
me.
us.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll make sure I throw down in the description any place and every place that everybody can find both of
Appreciate
you,
that.
so they can pick your brain about LA or cosplay or whatever. They can get a hold of you any way possible there.
Sounds good.
But thank you again so much, and I definitely want to speak with both of you again at some point in time. So.
Yeah, hit me up on social. I don't think we're connected yet, and we'll keep in touch.
Cool, excellent, thank you. There it is, guys. I hope you liked the episode. I hope you liked the conversation that we had and how important some of the things were that we went over. I hope you understand all of that. Again, like it popped up on the screen. If you're watching it, please, if you're struggling in any form or fashion, if you're having issues and having any thoughts of harming yourself, there is help. 988 is the number to call. That's it. That's all you have to do, and somebody will be there to help you through. But with all that, again, I hope you did enjoy this episode. I really, really enjoyed talking with them, and I definitely am going to get them back on the show, hopefully within the next few weeks, and kind of talk more about Shannon, because her journey has been phenomenal as of late, and it's really incredible. So please stick around, hit that like button if you enjoyed it, subscribe, follow us on the Facebooks and the Twitters and all of that jazz. Find us on all the podcatching apps. Do me a big favor here. If you happen to listen to us on Apple Podcasts, leave a review. Leave a review and just tell everyone, or tell us how much you enjoyed this show, or even if you don't enjoy it, let us know there. Make sure you start some conversation down in the comments on the YouTubes as well, because that's going to get this episode and other episodes pushed out a whole bunch more so other people can hear it and see it. It's all about algorithms, people, and I want you guys to hit that like button, subscribe, follow, comment, share, do all of that for me, because I love doing this, and I want to see that other people are liking what I'm doing as well. Like I said, I'm going to be a little selfish here. But with all that said, thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk with all of you later.